Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in the Story, and I'm just doing a bunch of readings today, and I just thought it would be fun to kind of show you I've done this, I've shown this reading before, but I want to show you how I've been doing it of late. I'm kind of putting these boxes together so I can, because I think I'll also give you a peek at once I have the reading laid out. I think I will just show you, what my table looks like as well. That's just kind of fun. People like to ask that, and even people that I give readings for, it's kind of fun for them to see the process. I'm going to turn this around though so that we don't have any people's names showing in my reading list. And let me put my phone. I just turned it on. My phone was dead, and so I had to charge it a bit. And so I just now, everything of course is popping up. So I muted that down. But these are the decks that, for a basic large tarot reading for me, and I have a pretty, I am a position person. I do tweak those positions depending on the particular question that's going on, but I am someone who does like positions. It simply works well for the way that I read. I've always been, I did the Celtic Cross forever, and there are some readings in which I'm much more fluid, say for past life readings and things like that. But I am a person who does work well with positions, and not everybody is the same way. Everybody reads differently, but that's how I tend to do. And right now, my current favorite, now I do mix up my decks a lot depending on the questions, just depending on things, but my favorite kind of grouping right now of cards, just if I'm just kind of just whatever, just because I like them, they work so well together, is the animal spirits, the wild unknown animal spirits, the wild unknown. This is a second edition that I was able to trade with the lovely Miss Denise. I traded her a couple of decks for this. I have the first edition. It's very hard for me to shuffle, and this is so much easier. So I have these two, the messenger cards and geomancy. And I really, sometimes I use two of these and I don't use the geomancy, but I really like the geomancy added in as well. So I just thought I could do a quick showing you how I would do a large tarot reading. It's good because I can put this link and people thinking of the reading can see it, but B, just because people ask those kinds of questions when I put like an Instagram picture up and that kind of thing. And so currently my favorite thing to do, and again this changes all the time, just depending on, oh look at that, this changes all the time, and depending on the question, positions will also change. What the positions, in some way, some of the cards positions will change, especially if the biggest change, which I'll show you when I get it laid out. But the format generally stays about the same because it works for me in all different situations. So I always start, well, I don't. It depends on what I'm doing. Right now, currently, I really like to start with these three things. The middle card being about the situation and or the present day, kind of both of those things. And then we have a little bit of above and below, underlying issues, some, kind of super conscious, higher conscious message that needs to come through. This can change. Sometimes it's a strength and a weakness depending on what the particular question is. But I start there, and what I like to use, the animal spirits card, is the energy for that. So what I will do is I will shuffle for the particular situation, and I'm going to do this for somebody in mind because I just find these kinds of tutorials work so much better if you actually have something in mind. And so I do have this reading in mind particularly for somebody. So I split, and then using these splits, I take the middle card as that center energy here. I take the bottom card as the energy for below. And then I take the top card as the energy for above. Make sure that you can see this. It fits just perfectly in the viewfinder, which is also important when you're reading and doing a video reading, right? So this, then I can set this deck aside. This gives us the overall energy. I don't really read these by themselves because they are sort of the underlying energy that's going to kind of combine with the tarot card that I've done. However, I do kind of skim it because with, if you haven't used the animal spirits, let me get the guidebook here. With the animal spirits, there is a hierarchy to the cards, and so being aware of that is very helpful. So, like for example, here above we have the mouse, which is an earth energy, right? And so we look to the earth energy, and here we have the mouse down here. So this is smaller. This is detail oriented. This is being nervous and nitpicky energy that's up here. And we're going to see how that combines with the card. Again, I don't really read this separately, except for to get a feeling of this is earthy stuff, but it's that nervous energy in the earth. There's maybe some nitpickiness, maybe some just kind of eating away at the stability that should be there with the earth energy. When we look up the scorpion, which is fire energy, we look for the scorpion again. It's in the same position of the third, kind of the third position. Would it almost be like ace 2 3, and this goes all the way to the top energy here. And so the scorpion is very passionate and competitive, even looks very competitive here. And you can see that passion, like if it stings you, that's that burst of fire there, right there. But the scorpion, it talks about, the other keyword would be solitary. So that's kind of interesting fire energy. But this is really a passionate energy for fire. So this is a passionate fire. There's lots of expressions of fire. And so these, kind of run the gamut of fire energy and what those might express themselves as. So that's why I really love this deck so much. And then for the below, we have the beautiful spirit here with the circle, and this is the unicorn. And this is about reconnecting to higher wisdom or divinity is what it has here. Of course, there's lots of things you can do with the unicorn energy just in terms of that's just that sense of magic and that sense that may be missing and or impacting however this reading is going to go. So I kind of start with that. I don't really do that, what I just did with you, because I really don't. I'm just showing you what the energies might be. So then I take the tarot cards. The reason I'm doing this particular video is because people ask a lot, like, how do I use decks, multiple decks? And you all know that I do 3 voices readings. I love 3 voices readings. That has Lenormand and tarot and oracle. But I also mix other decks, and people ask all the time, like, why do I do that? How do I do that? So this is just an example of how I use beautiful 3 decks that to me just belong together, and how I use that in a reading. So then what I do is I do, again, split, and again take this middle card here for the Magician, which is fantastic to have in combination, right? Because you have that sense of having everything that you need, that solitary, passionate, just almost aggressive. It's time to really, for this person to really understand that they've got everything that they need to live the passionate life that they are looking for. This person actually has a lot of fire in their chart, I happen to know, and so a lot of fire. And so this is quite a message that says, it's time to get passionate. It's time to live the life that you want to live and to live it fully. You have everything within yourself in order to do that and to order to manifest what it is that you're looking to manifest in your life. So that's a very powerful combination there. So then I would again pull the bottom card for the other card here. And so here we have the 9 of Swords, and this is a beautiful card. This is underlying issues, right? Because if this is about finding magic, or what was the keywords there for that? I'm just trying to let you see the reconnecting to higher wisdom, but this really comes strongly to me as kind of refinding and reclaiming the magic in life, because what's really going on, what's really underlying in this person's life is that sort of taking real things. Now, for me, the Nine of Swords is about nightmares, right? We have this very nightmare looking thing here. This is a beautiful representation of the nightmares, but there's nothing here that's realistic, right? We got a jawbone, we've got worms, we've got eyeballs that wouldn't necessarily be here with it. This is a nightmare. This is a conglomerate, almost has a fetish feel to it. But the Nine of Swords is about taking what could be very real problems. So it's not negating that there aren't real problems, but it's exaggerating them into nightmare. We build them to such high quality. We pour so much energy into those worrying and stressing over those things that they become larger than life and impossible to deal with. And so we have to bring those back down. And this is reconnecting to wisdom, kind of being smart about this, that we have to pull this down, but we also need to step away from this kind of anxiety-ridden nightmare, energy that's focusing, that is overlapping everything, underlying everything we do, and reconnect to the magic. That's a really powerful, for me, that's very powerful for this particular person. Then I take the top card again for this top here, and we have the beautiful Empress card. So here we have sort of nervous energy that may be, that's that idea of just kind of nervousness, kind of things that are eating away. You can see that balancing here where it kind of kitty corners here with the anxiety. We've got these big things, and we've got these little nervous energy that is kind of keeping them from being grounded. And then we have the Empress, who's a tree rooted in the ground. That's saying, okay, it's time to root your energy, to express, again, creativity with the Empress, but it is that rooted, strong, lasting energy that needs to be taking the place of this nervous energy here. So then it depends on how I'm feeling. I may either just continue to pull. Sometimes I reshuffle. I feel strongly to re-pull, and it's because a lot of times my hands are actually on it. And I feel when I split, I can feel zings on certain cards. Sometimes this card zings really strong when I split because my hand's here. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this zings really strong, and I know I'm going to continue to pull from here. Sometimes I'm going to think about whatever I'm thinking about and reshuffle. That also depends on the question, because sometimes I get this core and then there's two different situations that are going on that I'm going to use these two sides for, and so then I would maybe reshuffle. It just depends, but this is still the basic setup that I do. How I go about doing it and what the positions are can change just depending on what it is I'm reading for. In this case, what I generally do, though, is if I'm not doing two separate things that we're kind of pros and conning or seeing about two issues, then I always use the elements. And for me now, I always use the fire, air, water, and earth. And that's because those are the four fire, air, water, and earth for the feet for geomancy, because I use that to build a geomancy figure. So here in the realm of fire, we have the Three of Pentacles. In the realm, this is showing up in this position today more than once. Here we have the Seven of Swords, which is probably my favorite Seven of Swords because the fox is in there, strategizing, cunning, being smart about things. Yeah, and I shuffled this. This is these two cards are exactly where they are from a different reading. Here we have the Mother of Pentacles in the water position, and here we have the gorgeous Two of Pentacles in the position of earth. Now, for the last two, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle again, depending on, again, this changes up depending on what I'm doing, but I really like to get, I'll show you. These positions change a lot too. It's very much usually in some way the past and the future, but it's like a significant thing about the past that we need to know, and then sort of that significant outcome card in the future. That's generally how I'm looking at those cards. And I'm going to pull the first top card here, and I'm going to pull the last card here. So now I have all the cards on the table for this particular reading, and then I would go through and do the reading. And so in the position of passions and expressions and transformation, in a realm of transforming this life, because we have this energy where we feel like, okay, we need to really focus on this passionate energy that this person has in their hand and is capable of doing, but we've got to shift some energy, right? We've got some really big things that need to be brought down to manageable size, and the magic needs to be returned. We have scattered, uncertain, nervous energy that needs to be regrounded and rerouted. Rooted, not routed, but rooted in the ground. And so in this aspect of transforming this person's life, they need to reach out to other people. They're not doing this alone. I love this Three of Pentacles. There is maybe a mountain ahead that looks really difficult, but you're not going to do it alone. The power of three. I've been watching the Charmed, powering through all the seasons of the Charmed ones, right? Or is it just called Charmed? Yeah, just called Charmed. And so that's the power of three. Like, we need to reach out and ask for help, that we don't have to be an island in and of ourselves. In the realm of air, we have the Seven of Swords, which to me is very much about strategizing, right? We typically see, we know there's a battle going on. We've got somebody going over here stealing some swords. We don't know, in the best cards for me, we don't know why. Is this a thief doing something negative, or is this a commander who is strategizing, who is saying, you know what, I have to defend my castle. It's being overrun here. The people that are outside my gates, they are going to win. They have more swords. They have more resources. They have more men to come and storm my castle. I'm going to send a single person out to sneak out there and get some of those resources to even the playing field, to kind of swing the tide of battle. We don't always know what's going on with the Seven of Swords, and I like that. And I love that this deck has the fox here, because that is very much, for me, the Lenormand fox, is thinking outside of the box, strategizing. And this is in the air position of the mind. It's time to make some plans. We've got all this stuff that's so big that needs to be brought down to manageable size, and then we need to develop a strategy of how we are going to manage it, so that you can start to move forward into the wonderful Ten of Pentacles of abundance, but you need to first get that strategy in place. I love, this came up in another reading, and I love this combination of the Mother of Pentacles in the suit of cup, or in the position of water. So this is in love and relationships and our emotions, right? The Queen of Pentacles is creating a loving environment. For me, the queens are very much that Marielle Queens that says the queens are creating the environment so that things can grow. And this Queen of Pentacles with her lovely little fawn is loving and nurturing and creating an environment so that the emotions can flourish in a positive way instead of this kind of way. So I love what we can see there of those two even touching each other and talking to each other about how things are and how things should be in the realm of emotions. And then we go over to the earth, which is our practical everyday living, our jobs, our life. And we have the Two of Pentacles bringing those things into balance, transforming all of this energy into a much more balance. This is not balanced energy, nervous energy. We got all this passion, all this potential here that can't be really used effectively until we swing life back into balance. And so I love that we have that there in this card. Again, I'm obviously doing this quickly, so that, because I'm just trying to show you this. And then I would look, we have the Mother of Wands that is a significant past thing. So the Mother's, again, creating the environment, but this of Wands is that energy of fire and passion and expressing ourselves. This person is a very creative person, and in the past has been very confident in their creativity, very much living in an environment where a full and vibrant and beautiful life in the past, and that needs to be reclaimed, right? So for me, this is a message of reclaiming that past energy and pulling that so that it can move into the future, and where we have all this abundant energy of the Ten of Pentacles, which just looks abundant in this particular deck, in this card. We have that sense of everything cohesive, everything balanced, everything full of abundance here by reclaiming that past energy that has been lost. So that's how I would particularly read this. And then what I like to do is form my geomancy figure. Let me move these out of the way. Form my geomancy figure off of the elements. So fire is 3, which is a single active dot. 7 is an odd number as well, single active dot. The mothers are also an odd number because you do 1 through 10, 11 for princess, 12 for knights, 13 for queens, 14 for kings. So this would be a single dot. And then we have 2, which is an even number, which would be a receptive. And so here we have the dragon's tail figure that gets to show up, or Cauda Draconis. And so this is a letting go of the past, a sense of completion so that you can move forward. And this is definitely very poignant for this particular person who is doing the work to, now this is the energy of the past we want to reclaim, but there are some things that need to actually be let go of so that movement forward can happen. Things that need to be resolved, things that may be tying in also with this kind of energy, but there are some things in the past that we need to let go of in order to be able to move into this abundant future. And so this provides more information. It functions as another card in the reading. And then, because I cannot use these 2 decks without using the messenger card, for me they just all go together so gorgeously and read so gorgeously. And because I like balance and symmetry, it's, you know, it is part of my nature, and so my readings tend to reflect that. You know, we can pull here another card. And here we have a message of love. And how sweet is that? And in this particular situation, which I will talk to them separately, this is extremely, extremely poignant. This is a message of love from a particular person for them. And I can't wait for them to see this particular card. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because it's very personal. But there we have it. So this is an example of a large tarot reading that I would do for somebody, and this is kind of currently what when I use these decks. Again, it's very symmetrical. The information that's gained is really powerful. Again, sometimes these 3 cards become 2 situations if I'm looking at either or. These things can kind of change up depending on what I'm looking at. But if it's just a general reading, this is sort of the setup and the positions that I would generally use. So again, people have asked, you know, how do I use multiple decks within a single reading? And this is an example of how I might do that. I have another reading that I'm really enjoying right now called a check-in reading, and I will do another video on that to show that as well, because again, this question of using multiple decks in a reading comes up a lot, like emails and, you know, messages of, you know, oh, I really want to mix decks. How do you do that? Like, what do you do with them? That comes up a lot, and so I kind of wanted to share how I might do that. So this is an example reading of using multiple decks, and I particularly love these 3 decks together. So I hope that that has been of interest to you, and I wish you all much peace.